Why did you decide to write The Absolute Beginner's Guide Making Metal Clay Jewelry?
I decided to write the book because I thought that there was a need for a book that really helped people through the tricky things that happen. I think there are a lot of project books that are out on the market, but there are a lot of things that go wrong when somebody's creating something. So I wanted to create a book that had lots and lots of tips and techniques that would help lots of people.
What inspired you to create the projects that are in this book?
I wanted there to be an assortment of projects that are in the book that would address a lot of different skill sets so that people could learn, practice a project, get a technique, and go from there to help them develop other projects and help their design work.
Who or what has influenced your work and your pieces?
I would say probably the greatest influence to me was Gordon Uehara, who's my certifying instructor, and he's the one who really opened the door of metal clay to me, the way that his ease of working with it and a lot of his techniques of conditioning clay and just watching him and kind of absorbing stuff opened the creative floodgates for me. I was always kind of afraid to create because I thought metal clay was a lot more limiting. But then when I realized that you could just rework the clay, recondition it, and start doing things over again without having to worry about wasting anything, then it was all over from there.
How is your book different than those that are currently on the market? What makes it unique?
I think what makes this book unique is the fact that it does address a lot of those tips and techniques. I wrote it as if I teach my students, so I tried to incorporate things that I say to people when they're in class, when they're struggling. You know, watch out for, at this point, this might happen. If it does, here's how you solve it, instead of just giving step-by-steps, because I find that a lot of times people get stumped when it doesn't look exactly like it does in the book and they don't know what to do. So I'm hoping to address all of that.
What have you learned from teaching that you've been able to incorporate in the book?
Basically, everything about teaching is what this book is about. It's kind of like a in-print version of a real-life class. So I took a lot of my current classes, and then I went back and added all of the things that I say to people that when I'm in class. And by going through the teaching experience, it has allowed me to know where people encounter problems, where they need that extra help, and that's all the extra stuff that is built into this.
And then lastly, if you were to write another book, what has writing this book taught you that you could carry over into another book?
I think every time you write a book, you learn new things about how people think and what sorts of information they need. When you start really saying, I need to get a person from beginning to end without actually being there, it puts a whole different spin on writing a project set of instructions, to be able to make sure that you're very concise and descriptive, and it makes you think about what you do differently. So I think that it carries over into better instructions in the classroom as well. And everything that you do, every project, just makes everything else better.